Good morning. Um, for those of you who don't know my wife, Marie, and I, we've been missionaries with the Evangelical Alliance mission team since 1991. Went out and initially worked with Afghan people in Islamabad, Pakistan. They immigrated from Afghanistan to Pakistan. We taught English, and that was our platform for sharing the gospel. Then we had 6 years in the States, down in L.A., working with Afghans down there, as well as participating in a missionary training program during the summer. 2004, returned to Pakistan. 2005, switched from the Afghan ministry, full-time there, to part-time Afghan ministry, and also teaching at the Bible school, Zarephath Bible Seminary. And that's where I have been since then. In 2014, we had another 11 to 14. We had another time in which we were up in Portland, Oregon, working with international students as well as immigrants that had come to the Portland area. Went back to Pakistan 2014, and we were empty nesters. We were looking at Pakistan being our ministry until we retired, who knows, 5 years, 10 years from now. 2016 occurred, and we got a visa refusal, meaning we could not, if we returned to the States, we couldn't get back into country. That, we came back to the States, connected with our boys, churches, waited almost a whole year before we got the second letter, which said our visa was refused, which when you're heading for 10 years or so in a direction, and then to have that change, life change from this ministry to, Lord, what do you want us to do? It was quite an adjustment, thinking Pakistan and then not sure what the Lord had for us. Last year, July, we finally worked out our assignment, which is now half-time working with refugees that have immigrated to the Salem area, participating with a ministry called Salem for Refugees. And when refugees come, there are just tons of things that are involved in helping them settle, meaning getting them to doctor's appointments, helping them get into school, getting into job, apartments. So a lot of helping of the immigrants or the refugees as they come. Also, there's an international church that we participate in on Sunday nights, which is people from well over 6 different language groups that we accommodate in that international fellowship or church that we participate in. We're looking at this point for several more years in the ministry here in the States. Your church, you have been praying for Marie. On February 13th, we had one of those major life-changing experiences. I had taught via Skype, part-time refugee ministry. The other part of my ministry is teaching in the Bible school that I was teaching in via Skype. So I sit in my office, turn on Skype, and connect to Classroom over there, and then they send me assignments, and I grade it. So I had just completed that teaching, had talked to our son, and then preparing to go to bed, put on my CPAP machine. I'm one of those guys that have to have one of those machines for sleep apnea. And then put in earplugs and heard this horrible sound of groan from Marie. Marie, are you okay? She didn't respond, touched her, and folks, she was dead. Man, that sent me into high alert, called for my son who knows how to do CPR. He called 911, and we did CPR. That did not revive her. The fire guys came, did 2 zaps, and brought her back to life. But it wasn't simply a heart issue, because after they put in the emergency, they put a stent in her heart. Her heart was not damaged by the heart attack. The problem was after the heart attack, it caused, since she wasn't getting oxygen to her brain, she had multiple strokes. So they decided, okay, we dealt with that heart problem with a stent, but we don't know what damage had occurred to her brain. So they put her 24 hours in this cooling, they cooled her whole body down, and then we're planning to, they warmed it up again. And the hope was 24 hours later, she would just wake up and continue on. Well, that didn't happen. She did not come out of the coma. And so they did CT scan, they did MRI. The heart attack was on Tuesday. Thursday, we got the doctor's report in which it was, we don't know if her brain will tell her airwaves to stay open. If it doesn't, she's continuously on a respirator. That's not the life Marie would want, and it would be extremely hard to be the rest of your life on a respirator. It hit me like a ton of bricks. My 2 sons, younger sons, Alex and Andrew, were there, and we just cried out to the Lord, what do you have for Marie? On Sunday, they decided that they were going to take the respirator tube out, but they didn't know whether she would be able to breathe. And so the boys and I gathered around, prayed fervently. My siblings, who a lot of them live in Salem, they prayed, and then the doctors took it out. She lived. And thank God, over the next weeks, came out of the coma state, and then had to learn everything all over. Well, that's not completely true. Her memory, her personality, the same Marie that was there is now. However, she had to learn to talk again. She had to learn, she's learning how to spell again. She had to learn to walk again. And she was in rehab for 37 days, and then came home. And we've been continuing the process of recovery from losing everything to slowly the Lord is restoring her speech. In the beginning, it was, she had words, but mixing up people and then saying a few words and then, do you know? And then you had to just guess what she was talking about. To now, some words are sounds are switched around, but basically, she's able to communicate what's on her mind. Thank you very much for praying for our ministry. Thank you for praying for Marie. God did a miraculous work of granting her life. And now we're looking, Lord, I am continuing on with my ministry, but what is our future? We don't know. At this point, continue on with the service that we're doing, and then say, Lord, make it clear. Would you restore her to health, to the place where we could return overseas? We're willing. But she has to be able to handle that. So thank you for praying. Thank you that God has done an amazing thing, from death to life. And then the reality, very similar to the Christian life. Once you get that death to life experience, it's not over. There's a lot of participation you do in the Christian life that she's having to do in her growth and recovery, that she has to do the therapy. She has to exercise. So it's this participation with God as well as watching him restore her. Thank you.